right, welcome back, everybody. We're live outside the Fairfax County Courthouse right now as we're currently on a lunch break in the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial. For all of our YouTube fans that have been watching and live streaming this, thank you so much, and also for our regular viewers. But if you are on YouTube and you want that courtroom feed, as soon as it starts up again, we will jump live. In the meantime, if you're on YouTube, you can ask us any questions about the case. Just pin it in the channel, we'll read it on air, and we'll answer it. And that's what we're doing right now. And in fact, Angenette, I want to read you an interesting question that I was curious myself. We kind of heard a headline about this. This is from Rosie Jane, and Rosie Jane says, is Johnny Depp's team able to use Amber's claim about using makeup to cover up bruises and show that she, in fact, is lying about using a cover-up makeup because it came out in 2017? There was that really breakthrough TikTok that happened last week. Do we have any word on if this is going to play a role in this case?
Well, you know, it could. We don't know for certain that they will go through that directly or talk about that Milani concealer palette that Elaine Bredehoff held up during the during her opening statement, I should say. But Milani puts out this TikTok video about a week and a half ago saying, oh, that Milani concealer palette that Elaine Bredehoff held up, we didn't even make that until 2017. So she wasn't using our makeup to cover up her bruises. So I'm assuming we're going to hear a lot of testimony on direct from Amber Heard when she testifies either this Wednesday or Thursday about the types of cosmetics that she uses and how she's so skilled with makeup because she is a spokesperson for L'Oreal and all of this. So we will, I'm sure, get educated and we will be schooled on Amber Heard's cosmetic routine and the types of cosmetics that she uses. Now, I reached out to people who know Amber Heard about all of this when the TikTok came out, and I was told by this source close to her that, look, you know, she held up that palette, but she used one similar to this, not exactly that one, and they didn't like that Milani came out, and they felt they were using this situation to kind of get some advertising, some free advertising, since it's a high-profile case. But Milani said in that TikTok video, you asked, so here you go. So I would assume that, you know, the hardcore viewers who are really watching everything closely probably reached out to Milani on TikTok or wherever else and said, is this makeup, when was it made? When did she start using it? So stirred up a little bit of controversy there about a week and a half ago.
Absolutely. It's not only the court of law, it's also the court of public opinion as well. There are two battles that are happening for both of these stars. Right. I want to bring up a question from Ed Weisner. Judge asked all not to research cases online. Amber was not happy with the headlines. It means she was researching outside of court. Did Amber go against the judge's order? If yes, what could be the consequences? Just to clarify that, it's not an order against the parties. It's not about the lawyers or Johnny Depp or Amber Heard. It's it's really specifically for the witnesses, and it's also for the jury as well, who hopefully are not watching any of this, because could you imagine we find out the jury was tainted and watching some of the coverage? We'd have to start from ground one, from the first base. So anyway, let's go back again. We are taking your questions on YouTube. Just throw them in that chat and we'll cover them on the other side. Let's go to some more of the testimony that you might have missed. We heard from Ed White, who is Depp's business manager, and gave some more insight into this case. Take a look.
What role did you play with respect to the payments ultimately made to Ms. Heard?
We supplied the payments to Ms. Heard in accordance with the agreement, either on or before the date in which they were required to be paid. The first payments made to Ms. Heard was $2 million in 2017. Then in April of 2017, another payment of $1 million made payable directly to Ms. Heard was made. Then in August of 2017, another $1 million was paid directly to Ms. Heard. Then in November, $500,000 was paid directly to Ms. Heard. My colleagues drafted those checks. I executed them. They were delivered on a timely basis. Therefore, in 2017, she was paid $4.5 million directly paid to her. Then on February 1 of 2018, she was paid the final installment of $2.3 million for total payments that went directly to Ms. Heard of $6.8 million.
Do you know when this lawsuit was filed?
Yes, it was filed in March 1.
Were the payments that were made on Mr. Depp's behalf directly to Ms. Heard the only economic benefit she received?
Objection leading.
I haven't heard the go. I'll overrule the objection for us now. Go ahead.
Were the payments made on to Ms. Heard the only economic benefits that she received from the settlement agreement?
No. As I shared with you earlier, Mr. Depp was required to pay $500,000 to Ms. Heard's counsel, which he did in a timely, respectful manner. He was also required to pay all the community liabilities, which accumulated during their 15-month marriage, was approximately $13,500,000. So he paid all the community liabilities. She paid none of them. That's why you have to aggregate the money that was paid directly to her, the money that was paid to her, to the charities on her behalf, the money that was paid to her attorneys, and the relief of all these liabilities that he had to satisfy. That's why I said to you, Counselor, that the total consideration paid to her was $14,250,000, and she demanded that that payment be made free of taxation, that Mr. Depp would have to satisfy all the tax liabilities.
How long were they married for?
They were married for 15 months.
Again, all this testimony to show that Amber Heard was only after the money and not Johnny Depp's love and affection. That's very similar to what we've heard from other witnesses. Now, again, we are taking your questions on YouTube, and we're getting some great ones right now. Keep throwing them in. So this is a good one from Lord Cam, and I go to you, Dina, on this one. What happens if Amber Heard is found liable, and could she just appeal the decision and appeal again and appeal again? When does it end?
Okay, another great question. So yes, she could definitely appeal if she loses her case, but it's okay. Let me say that again. So yes, she can appeal it, and if she loses, you know, in terms of getting it to like a state Supreme Court or U.S. Supreme Court, those courts only take an appeal if there's an issue at law that they think needs to be settled. So you don't automatically get to appeal something to the state Supreme Court or the U.S. Supreme Court. That's up to them whether they take the appeal. But in terms of a court of appeal, she could appeal it. If she loses there, most likely she would be done unless there's some issue of law that higher courts really want to look at.
Yeah, everybody, you can always try to appeal. Doesn't mean you're always going to win it. Now, we go to Peter Oates. This is for you, Marie. Peter Oates says, why Johnny's team not call up an executive from Disney to confirm a verbal agreement was in place and then ask why the offer never moved on? The reason that's a great question is because of all the testimony that we heard earlier today from Jack Wiggum, Johnny Depp's manager, who wasn't allowed in court to talk about this agreement. There was kept objections and sustaining, and he couldn't really get to the heart of the issue about whether or not it was the Washington Post article that caused Johnny Depp to lose Pirate 6. So any limitation in calling an executive from Disney to find out?
No, there isn't any limitation because this is a fluid situation. So if they feel that after the testimony of his agent, there needs to be clarification on whether or not this deal was in writing, they can add witnesses to the list, and they have to hash that out in the absence of the jurors with the judge, probably on Fridays because that's the days that they take off. But yes, they can bring additional witnesses as the case evolves.
Trials so fluid, they evolve all the time. And we talked about the Milani makeup. Now, is that going to be an issue? And we will wait and see. We are going to jump back live as soon as this lunch break is done. We're going to take more of your questions. We really do have the best viewers and the best fans on Law and Crime. So again, keep having those questions roll in and we'll answer them here on the air. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be live.